Caring about your students is a non-negotiable, right? Most of us became teachers because, well, we care. But let me ask you something. Does your classroom actually reflect that care? Or does it sometimes feel like that beautiful mission statement taped up above the board is just hovering over the bickering and stress and emotional meltdowns? Yeah, I've been there. This episode is a tough one, and it's a little bit of a gut check on the actual culture that's inside your classroom, because caring about your students isn't always the same as cultivating a culture of care. And if your room is feeling tense or reactive or just off lately, it's time to take a moment and reflect on that. It's okay. I'm here with you. Put those earbuds in. Let's go for a walk or a drive or hang out with me while you're cooking or doing laundry. It's just you and me today, and we're going to get real. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. I have some exciting news, and I can't make you just wait till the end, so I'm going to tell you right now. Starting today, for the next 3 days, you're going to be able to get into the Classroom Reset at an amazing discount. Yep, this is going to be a 3-day sale just for you, my podcast listeners. If you've been thinking about getting inside the Classroom Reset to follow my 5-step reset framework that you can use to build a caring classroom culture, to engage your students with creativity and the arts, and to support your students' social emotional needs with creative strategies, this is your opportunity to get inside at an amazing discount. And starting this month, I've added a super amazing bonus, and that is one-to-one personalized support. What does that mean? Well, anytime you have a question about how you can implement some of the strategies, how you can make your way through the framework, how you can beat the burnout and improve student behaviors using the tactics inside the Reset framework, you go ahead and ask me a question, and we will work together one-to-one to figure out how it's going to work for your classroom, your grade level, your teaching style, and of course, your students that you have in front of you right now. I've been testing this out over the last couple of months with the teachers that are inside the Classroom Reset right now, and it is so exciting how much of an impact it's making on their transformation inside their classroom, both for themselves and for their students. I do not want you to hesitate to get inside the Classroom Reset. So go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset to learn more and to enroll. Because remember, this is only going to be available at this amazing discount for 3 days. Just use the code at the checkout. It's that simple. When I think about culture, I think about how a group of people express who they are through music and food and dance and language and traditions. It's how we show up in the world, right? It's how we connect as a group of people. There have been so many times in my teaching career that I've been lucky enough to share some of my own Armenian culture with my students. I'll never forget this one year. I was teaching middle school music, and I had the chance to lead an assembly with 200 7th graders. I wore traditional clothes, I played some upbeat kef music, and taught them how to do the bard, a basic Armenian line dance. And then we did it. We filled the gym with laughter and movement and, oh my gosh, joy. Everyone was dancing and smiling, even the too cool for school kids. It was so much fun. That was me sharing my culture with them. But here's the thing I want you to think about. As teachers, we also have this incredible opportunity to create a culture within our classrooms. And it's not just about the cute posters on the walls or the list of class rules that we go over the first week of school. It goes way deeper than that. Real culture, it's felt, right? It's emotional. It's the vibe. It's what your students feel when they walk through your classroom door. Are they smiling and curious, or are they shutting down, scanning for exits, or already bracing for another tough day? Here's the truth. Culture isn't what we say it is. It's what our students actually experience. And that's what we're diving into today. What it really means to build a caring culture inside your classroom. As teachers, we want our classrooms to feel safe, supportive, and inclusive. We want students to take risks. We want them to feel seen and know that they belong. And most of us, especially the teachers I work with, and I'm sure this includes you, we really do care about our students. We come in each day with big hearts, good intentions, and a desire to make a difference. But we can't just wish that kind of classroom culture into existence. We have to work on building it. Just like a country's culture is built over generations through shared experiences and traditions, and language and time, your classroom culture is created moment by moment, day by day. It's not a one and done lesson plan that you do that's hands-on and fun. It's not just an activity that spreads kindness. It's something that you actively build, sometimes in big ways, but often in quiet and subtle ways as well. So even though we may feel like we're cultivating a caring environment because that's what we carry in our heart and in our mind, it's possible that your students aren't actually experiencing it that way. And that can be a tough pill to swallow. It's one that I've had to swallow myself a few times. So let's talk about what that can look like. So maybe there's a student in your class who's super quiet. They never raise their hand. They whisper when they're in small groups. They seem to float through the day and just go unnoticed. And it's easy to think, well, they're just shy, or that's just their personality. Or maybe there's a student who doesn't seem to get along with anybody. You know, they don't get picked for groups. They don't have a partner. And you might assume, well, that's just the way it is for them. Or they haven't really tried to make friends. But here's the truth. If a student doesn't feel like they belong, that's not their problem. It's actually ours. Ugh, that one hurt, right? I told you we were going to get a little real today. But here's the good news, and that is that we can do something to help solve that. Because the culture of our classroom isn't about the average experience. It's about whether each and every student feels safe and seen and supported. And that takes intention. It takes reflection, and that's what we're going to do next. Now, I have 3 things I want you to consider to test out your classroom culture. All right, these are 3 areas that can give you a real clue into how your classroom culture really feels. And it's going to take some honest reflection. So if you want, grab a journal or just open up a notes app, or hey, just pause the episode after each question. And I just want you to think. But I really want to give you the opportunity to do this with me. So here we go. All right. First question I want you to ask, do your students know each other's names? All of them. This is something I used to take for granted. You know, many of your students probably have been together for years. But one time, I remember I did a name game for myself to know the kids' names at the beginning of a school year. And I quickly realized that there were students who simply didn't know each other's names. So I would love for you to think about testing this out in your classroom, okay? For this, you can do the 7-Up test. Do you remember the 7-Up game? It's when you have your class put their heads down and thumbs up, and then 7 kids, or sometimes I do this with only 5 kids, they go out and they tap a classmate's thumb so that they choose them, and then the chosen students need to guess who tapped their thumb. I remember playing this myself in elementary school. Oh my gosh, it was such a hit back then, and it continues to be a hit today. Let me just tell you. So there have been a couple of times when I've had a few minutes to spare at the end of the day, and so my students opted to play 7-Up, or in my case, like I said, we usually do 5-Up. Well, I noticed that many of the students couldn't name the kid that they thought tapped their thumb. They struggled. They struggled as they tried to choose a student from the lineup in the front of the room, and instead they would point awkwardly and shyly, and they didn't know exactly what to do, right? And this was in the springtime after my students had been together for months. It was such an eye-opener for me. So consider doing the 7-Up test in your classroom to really test out if your students know each other's names, all of them. All right, the second question I want you to consider is, do your students have classmates that they can easily work with? Or do some of your students still struggle to find a partner? Now, chances are you have some of these students in your classroom, but wouldn't it be amazing if you could create a classroom culture where none of your students have this issue? Now, this is something I am so proud of. I can honestly say that when I allow students to make groups in my classroom, my 5th grade classroom, I can count on them to include everyone. I always prep them ahead of time, and I remind them that I'll be looking to make sure everyone is being kind and making sure everyone has someone to work with. We even have a saying where when you notice someone is looking for a partner, you can say, "Hey, come join us." It's definitely become part of the culture inside my classroom so that no one feels left out and everybody has someone to work with. And here's the third question I want you to consider when you want to think about cultivating a culture of care in your classroom. All right, here it is. Do your students believe that mistakes are part of learning, or are they afraid to take risks? The thing with this is that there will always be students that are afraid to make mistakes, but you have the opportunity to show them that wrong answers are a path to new learning, that mistakes are not as important as the effort and the intention behind the work that they are doing. Now, you probably know it's safe to make mistakes, but the question is, are you helping to create a classroom culture where your students understand that as well? And that culture of care isn't built by eliminating the fear of mistakes. Instead, it's built by consistently showing students that mistakes are how learning begins. These are some powerful questions to consider when you're thinking about your caring classroom culture, right? And I just love going through these types of questions with teachers because they can really open the door to transformation, not just for your students, but for you too. This is the kind of work that we do inside the Classroom Reset, my teacher-centered online course that's designed to help you improve student behaviors and actually enjoy walking into your classroom again. One of the very first modules is all about creating a caring classroom culture. And I mean really building it with intention and consistency. And we go deeper into the kinds of questions we just explored, and then I give you specific creative strategies that make a real difference in building trust with your students and creating safe emotional spaces and weaving in simple arts-based activities that help your classroom feel calm and connected and, of course, caring. Because that is what this is all about. If you've ever wished for your classroom to feel more supportive, not just for your students, but for you too, I want you to go check out the Classroom Reset. It is your best next step. So if that's tugging at your teacher heart right now, I want to personally invite you to check it out. You can go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset to get all the information and to enroll. Now, let's turn some of that reflection into real action, okay? So we talked about students knowing each other's names, how they do when it's time to find partners to work with, and how they feel about making mistakes. So here are 3 quick steps that you can take with the insights that you just gained from thinking about those questions. All right, the first thing I want you to do is identify one gap where you can make an improvement. Pick one thing that made you pause as I was talking about those 3 areas to really check in on. That little twinge that you may have felt, that's your next opportunity. Whether it's a student who's still having trouble finding a partner, or a classroom norm that just needs to be rethought out, I want you to name it. That's where you're going to start. Then the next thing I want you to do is to take one intentional step tomorrow or the very next day you are teaching, okay? So maybe you greet that quiet student personally as they walk into your classroom. Maybe you switch up groupings so no one is left out. Or talk to a student who can model how to be inclusive during the next activity. Maybe you take 5 minutes to tell a story about when you made a mistake in school and made it an opportunity to do better. Just one thing. That's all it takes to start this momentum. And once you have that one intentional step that you're going to take the very next time you're teaching, here's the third thing. I want you to keep the culture conversation going. Remember, culture doesn't just build itself, it grows through consistency. So have those opportunities to talk about belonging with your students, talk about teamwork, celebrate kindness when you see it, those little moments that you can just point out and share that you noticed something. And when things feel off, take a step back, reflect again, and just do any adjustments that you need to do. Guiding your students into a place where they are not just welcomed into your classroom, but are part of the creation of your caring classroom. Listen, I know what it's like to walk into a classroom and feel that something's just off. Like you don't truly enjoy being there, right? The kids may or may not be following the rules. The lessons are probably moving along the way that they're supposed to, but the vibe, it's just, maybe it's tense, maybe it's disconnected, maybe you feel like you're constantly managing these little behaviors or trying to make things work just right inside your classroom. And by the end of the day, you're drained and questioning if this is really how it's supposed to feel. Man, I've been there, and I also know that there's a better way, and that's why I created the Classroom Reset. It's a teacher-centered, personalized program that helps you create a classroom culture that feels good to walk into each morning. One where students feel safe, they feel connected, they actually want to be there, and you do too. And for the next 3 days, I'm having a sale that you won't want to miss. And you can get all the details at theinspiredclassroom.com/reset. This isn't another thing to pile on top of everything else you're doing. Instead, this course is designed to support you with step-by-step modules, ready-to-go resources, and simple creative strategies that you can start using right away. You can go at your own pace, work through the framework, and you'll have personalized support along the way. If you're tired of putting out behavior fires, if your classroom's feeling off and you can't quite put your finger on why, if you care deeply about your students but feel like you're missing something, that's a sign that it's time to hit the reset. And you don't have to figure this out all on your own, because inside the Classroom Reset, I will walk you through my entire 5-step reset framework where you're going to reflect, you're going to reconnect, and rebuild a classroom that really works for you. One of the very first things we do is focus on creating a caring classroom culture. So your classroom becomes that calm and creative and connected space that you've been craving, and your students have as well. Because here's the truth, you already are doing so much. You care, you show up, you want what's best for your students, but you deserve some support too. And starting this month, I'm including personalized support for all the teachers inside the Classroom Reset. That means when you have a question, you email it to me, you share it with me, and I will answer you personally so that your needs are met for your classroom and your students. And during these 3 days, you can get an amazing discount. Check out the information inside the show notes and head to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset to get yourself enrolled. Let's establish a caring classroom culture that feels amazing. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.